Hi, I'm Beth Accomando, host of the KPBS Cinema Junkie podcast, and welcome to another Geeky Gourmet. These are videos that are paired to my podcast, and the theme this month is Asians on screen. So I had the opportunity to speak with Destin Cretton, the director of the first Asian superhero film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, I've known Destin for 20 years. This may be the only time that I can say to a filmmaker that I was there when your career in filmmaking began.
I mean, you can say that you were there before I even knew that I could do it as a hobby.
I had the opportunity to show his student films at my festival, Film School Confidential, so I feel a certain connection to this film. Also, my grandfather was Chinese, and I have nothing but wonderful memories of cooking with him. So this is an opportunity for me to share a little bit of my love of Chinese cooking and to be able to celebrate Shang-Chi. So to start with, I'm going to show you how to make Chinese rice porridge, which is the food that Shang-Chi eats in the breakfast scene in the movie. Now, there's a lot of different ways to make this, so this is just one variation. To start the Chinese rice porridge, begin with a 1/4 cup of dried shrimp that you're going to rinse and then you're going to let soak in some water for 30 minutes. So once the shrimp has plumped up, you can drain the water and save it to use when you cook the porridge. And next you want to take your rice. This is 1 cup of Jasmine or long grain rice. You want to rinse it just once and then drain the water. So the ratio I used was 1 to 6. This was 1 cup of Jasmine rice to 6 cups of vegetable broth. Now, I happen to like the porridge a little bit thicker, but if you want, you can do a ratio of 1 to 9 and use 6 cups of vegetable broth and 3 cups of water, but that's up to you. Next, you want to mince about 2 tablespoons of ginger, or you can grate it. Then you want to take 3 cloves of garlic and mince that. A 1/4 pound of ideally shiitake mushrooms sliced into 1/4 inch thickness. Next, take 2 tablespoons of oil, put it in a pot over a medium-high heat, and stir in the minced ginger and garlic and cook for about 30 seconds. Once the ginger and garlic become fragrant, add the rehydrated shrimp, which I chopped up. Then add the mushrooms and rice and saute for about another minute. Now you want to pour the broth into the pot, and I tend to warm up the broth before I add it to the pot. And this is the point where if you want to increase the ratio, you can add an additional 3 cups of water to the pot. Sprinkle in some salt and stir. Then leave it uncovered till it comes to a boil. Then reduce the heat to very low and cover the pot. Now you want to let the porridge simmer for about an hour, stirring occasionally. After an hour, check the porridge to see if the consistency is to your liking. If it is, you can leave the pot uncovered for 15 minutes so the porridge cools and thickens. Then serve it in a bowl with some condiments. Like regular porridge, it's a little bit bland, so you want to make sure that you have some toppings to put on it. So I had sliced scallions, fried garlic, chili oil, and some chopped peanuts. Then enjoy, just like Shang-Chi did. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the Chinese porridge. Now I'm going to show you something super simple you can do with wonton skins that you can find in almost any grocery store. This is a cookbook that my grandfather bought for me years ago when my son was very little, and it has super simple recipes that you can do with kids or for yourself, but they're delicious treats that you can do with fried wonton skins. I have a lot of great memories about my grandfather, especially around food, whether it's cooking or just eating. I remember he used to make me the best lunches to take to school. And he also taught me about Chinese traditions like having longevity noodles for birthdays. So I'm going to take the recipes from this book that I used to make with my grandfather and son and tweak them a little bit to theme them to Shang-Chi. So we're going to have some 10 rings fried wontons and then some dragon scales festive turnovers. So all you need for this are a couple of circle cutters, and we are going to be making the 10 rings from the Shang-Chi movie. Okay, I know I called them fried wontons, but we're actually using egg roll wrappers. Now this is the same dough, it's just slightly larger, and that lets the rings be a little bit bigger. So all you're gonna do is take one of the skins and use one of your circle cutters and press real firm to cut a circle out. You can save the leftover skins to fry up and just sprinkle with sugar, and they taste delicious. And then you want to cut the inner circle to make the ring. And then just make 10 of those. And since the 10 rings in the film were often glowing blue, we'll sprinkle a little sanding sugar that's colored blue onto them. Once you have the 10 rings cut, they're ready to fry up. And as soon as you pull them out of the oil, sprinkle them with the sugar. Okay, for the festive sweet turnovers that we are redubbing dragon scales, the first thing you need is a 1/2 cup of shredded coconut. Then 3/4 of a cup roughly chopped roasted peanuts. a 1/4 cup of white sugar, and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and a tablespoon of toasted sesame seeds. And then you just want to make sure this is all mixed up because this is going to be the filling for your little fried turnovers. And then you want 1 beaten egg, and this is what you're going to use to seal the turnovers with. And then you want to take the wonton wrappers and fill them. And then seal it by putting a little bit of the egg and folding it in half. And then those are ready to be fried up. And for the dragon scales, we'll use some red sanding sugar and sprinkle those onto the turnovers when they're cooked. And there you have your festive sweet turnovers made from wonton skins, and we are redubbing them dragon scales to go with Shang-Chi, and your 10 rings to go with Shang-Chi as well. I know these aren't the fanciest desserts, but they taste delicious and they're super easy to make, and you can make them with your kids. And they do lend themselves to being themed to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the 10 Rings. Thanks for watching another Geeky Gourmet. I hope you enjoyed those Asian treats. Please listen to the Cinema Junkie podcast on the origin story of Destin Cretton, the director of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the 10 Rings. You can find the podcast and more Geeky Gourmet videos at kpbs.org/cinemajunkie. So till our next film fix, I'm Beth Accomando, your resident Cinema Junkie.